Hi, my name is Luciano Alzate, and this is my creative critical reflection for my film Stuck Inside the Carpal Tunnel. Stuck Inside the Carpal Tunnel follows a young artist, Mark, whose life revolves entirely around his art. One day while painting, he experiences a crippling injury in his right hand. Now, art is Mark's only way of putting food on the table, so without an ability to use his right hand, Mark must undergo a journey of self-discovery and perseverance in order to work around his newfound disability. This film reflects themes of obsession and mental health. We follow Mark in his journey to conquer his negative tendencies through the overcoming of his disability. You see, in this film, it isn't Mark's physical disability that truly holds him back, despite what he might think, but instead, it's the mental blocks and fears that he has deep within him. The disability simply forces him to tread down a path he never would have experienced otherwise, a path of self-discovery and a path of growth. My film would be best described as a psychological drama, heavily inspired by films like Whiplash, Black Swan, Tar, The Whale, The Machinist, etc. The genre is characterized by a large emphasis on the titular character and details on their inner lives. They often cover broad themes like those of anxiety, guilt, denialism, mental disorders, etc. In this regard, I am definitely sticking to conventions. The film will largely follow the titular character, Mark, and his relationship to art. At the beginning of the film, Mark is very aggressive and unstable. Mark has mental blocks and struggles that he doesn't recognize. But throughout the course of the film, as he deals with his newly developed disability in his arm, he learns to accept art for what it is, a way to grow. Mark learns to use art for his benefit, to nurture him and to help him grow. His withered arm directly forces him to slow down and realize what his life is truly about. It's really what saves him. As far as representation goes, I am representing the disabled community in this film. GLAAD found that the disabled people are the least represented minority group, with only around 1.8 of returning TV show characters having a disability. And this issue doesn't just exist in television. A New Zealand study included about 164,000 films, and only about 4.2% of them covered themes of disability in any way. These are two shocking statistics, especially when considering up to 1 in 4 adults in the United States have a disability. What's worse is that when they are represented, disabilities are often portrayed as being something that makes a person lesser, when the reality couldn't be further from the truth. People with disabilities simply have to adapt to the able-bodied, conscious society that surrounds them. It's this act of adaptation in my film that leads Mark to build character. In an artist's world, he is left without the ability to draw or paint, but learning to adapt around that is not the thing that holds him back. It's the thing that saves him. Representation is an extremely important aspect, as it allows viewers to see themselves in the media they watch. After all, what is the point of film? I argue that it's to reflect the world we live in, and to give insights on the human condition.
Mark, this is your physician, Dr. Phillips. You told me the last week about the pain in your arm. The results just come back. I'm sorry to say, but they're not looking good. Your carpal tunnel is severely damaged. You are going to need years of physical therapy, and you are going to need to refrain from using that arm for a foreseeable future.
My film is geared more towards critics than towards general audiences. Though audiences would still enjoy my film, I am definitely gearing it more towards critics, as the complex themes presented within Mark's character would be best understood by them. When it does come to general audiences, though, I would say my film targets adults more than it does children, due to those same complex themes and the serious discussions on mental health. I will also specifically be targeting those with disabilities that can relate to the film. My film will reach this target audience by delving into the psychology of disabilities, really touching those who have gone through the same. In order to reach a more general audience, however, I will simply present a compelling story. Though accurate to the disabled experience, events will be dramatized, and I will make the viewer connect to Mark in a genuine and entertaining way. As far as the distribution goes, I plan to release Stuck Inside the Carpal Tunnel much like Top Gun Maverick was released. I will do a full in-theaters release before moving on to streaming platforms. Much like Tom Cruise, this is purely for selfish reasons. I believe cinema is best enjoyed in theaters. This way, filmmakers can control how the viewing experience will go, and audiences can be guided exactly in the way that the filmmaker wants. I don't want viewers to watch my film for 30 minutes on their phones and then go play video games for an hour before coming back and watching another 30 minutes and then video games and then... This is a story that needs to be consumed in one sitting and with full attention in order to be properly enjoyed. An initial release in theaters will allow for this. People who generally want to understand the film can watch it in theaters, and everyone else can go watch it once it's released onto streaming. I would want to market this film through various angles, from releasing trailers on social media platforms like YouTube and Instagram for the general population, to having articles made about it in news and on film websites like IMDb Movie News to target those critics. Many different types of people will be reached. From when I first stepped foot into my ACE Media classroom back in August to now, I've transformed myself into a completely different filmmaker. I learned about every aspect of making a film, from pre-production to post-production. I first started by taking a list of every stage of pre-production, then breaking each stage down into actionable steps that I can take. I learned to sort my finances, make a treatment and a script and storyboards. I had everything ready and planned out before I ever stepped on set. I also had to teach myself how to shoot a compelling story. This was by far the most thrilling aspect of learning. I binged hundreds of hours of filmmaking content. YouTube channels like Tomorrow's Filmmakers and Standard Story Co. taught me how to properly light a scene and motivate lights, how to deal with deadlines and improve my workflow, how to meticulously plan my shots so I knew exactly what to do on set, and much, much more. I went from shooting video that looked like this to learning a little bit more and shooting video that looked like this.
I want you to eat, get some good sleep, and in a month from now, the Hollywood Big Shot's gonna give you everything you want, okay?
Too late. They start shooting in a week.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
Oh, okay. And finally, to my film opening that looked like this. Okay. It's okay. Okay. Alright. Post-production is an aspect I already felt strong in, however. I've been editing since the 5th grade on programs like Final Cut Pro and Premiere Pro, and have recently started learning After Effects too, so I already felt strong in my editing abilities. The use of hardware and software was an integral part of my growth as a filmmaker this year. I went from shooting video on my phone to proficiently using my DSLR and Rode VideoMic Pro. Lighting was by far my biggest improvement. I shot my whole open with 3 types of lights: softboxes, LED panel lights, and practicals like lamps, although artificially edited. To learn how to use these tools at my disposal, I did several lighting simulations, playing with what I can do before I even started filming. Then, when filming started, I wanted to light with good contrast. I used lights and reflectors to modulate said contrast on my face. I also had a light behind me to give me some shape, alongside a flurry of other lights working smaller jobs, details. When I was shooting close-ups, I had the lights closer to me and more intense. When I cut to a wide shot, I pulled everything back and softened the lighting. Techniques like this really improved my lighting skills. Overall, I feel like I understand what it takes to make a film now. From understanding the concepts you're tackling to being able to make a film proficiently. I feel like I've really grown in my filmmaking skills.